Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, it's Dave, the host of the How to Podcast series. I am not happy. It's nothing you did. It's something that a guru has said. Come out with this pile of crap about podcasting that makes me sad, angry, disappointed, frustrated that this kind of crap gets out into the podcasting world, because it diminishes the majority of people who podcast. And the arrogance of this guru, I'm not going to give them any kind of notoriety by calling them out on the show. If they hear this, I doubt they listen to the show because it's not going to fit with their narrative. But if you're seeing things like this pop up in your emails, on other podcasts about podcasting, and you think this is true, I'm trying to show you the other side of this. And this is the kind of crap that I'm trying to fight against with this show and shine a light on people who are just out to lunch with this information. The idea, and basically what the title of this as it came through to me was, your podcast isn't credible until it's a business. Like, oh, we got to talk about this one. Did you know that according to the Independent Podcaster Report 2025, 85% of independent podcasters say their show does not make money? 85% of independent podcasters say their show does not make any money. At least only about 15% who report any form of monetization, making money with their show. Among those 15% who do earn, many make only a small profit or even break even on their costs between editing, hosting, that equipment. They're not making life-changing money. They're maybe breaking even. They're back to zero. They're not losing money, right, by doing this. Of the 15% that say they make money, some make a small profit, some treat it as supplemental income source, and only 8% call their podcast their primary income source. Here's where I feel like the loudest people in the room are the 8%. And they're making the 92% of us who don't make significant pay your mortgage, pay your bills, pay your car payment, put food on the table, put your kids through college, that kind of money. 8% are the ones you're going to see at conferences on stage telling you how to make $1 million with your show. 8% are the ones who write books. 8% are the ones that podcast conferences invite to speak. They don't pick from the 92% who don't make any or very little money from their show, is where I get frustrated. Because the 8% think that they represent the 92. It's 8% of people make life-changing money with their show. These are the podcasts that are the biggest, and they hog the top rankings of the top 10 week to week, month to month, year to year, because they have a crazy budget. They've got a huge, massive team. They've got resources that we will never have. They have sponsors lining up at the door, ready to throw money on the table. They're the 8%. And when you go to conferences and you hear an 8%er up on stage bragging about the amount of money they took home this week, there's 92% of the audience has no idea what they're talking about and has not been the experience of the majority. So I just want to just start with this as a starting point before we get into what this podcaster is saying, because this podcaster, this guru, they're not the majority. And I doubt that this podcaster is one of the 8%. Really. I don't know where they're getting off on this, but this is not the message we want to send to the world of podcasting, because if 92% of us don't measure up to the 8%, 92% of us will not want to continue podcasting. So I just want to put this in focus. For every 100 indie podcasters, about 85 of them are not earning anything directly from their show. Maybe 1 in 10, 1 in 20 will make enough to make it a meaningful side income, and even fewer will make this a full-time living. Your goal to start a podcast and quit your day job? Well, I don't know how you're going to go from 0 to the 8% unless you're bringing in fame and fortune with you. I heard somebody say the best way to become a millionaire is to start as a billionaire. You're going to lose money when you create your podcast. It's going to take time unless you're super, super famous. So just keep that in mind. And now I'm going to get into this, and this is what's going to make my blood boil a little bit and make me a little upset. But I'm going to pick out a few things based on what this guru has posted and just push back lovingly and gently, even though I would love to do a little bit more than that, to be quite transparent, because this does not help. This does not help. So one of the things they say here is your podcast is incredible until it becomes a business. A lot of people say that they want to grow, monetize, and leave their 9-to-5, but wanting it and being structured for it are two different things. Now, they're giving you the framework on how to make this a reality for you to be one of the 8%ers. You have to have all kinds of things in order. You got to take care of yourself. You got to treat this like a business. You got to set it up as an LLC so that you can, in the US, you have LLCs. We don't have that in Canada, so that's definitely an American talking here. You need business accounts. You need to have all of this stuff. You need to have lawyers. You need to have on and on and on. You need to protect your content. You need agreements in place. They get on and on and on. I just all this business stuff. The one thing that really kind of bothered me was this person said, you should think of your podcast as a business. Don't think of it as a hobby. When you change it from hobby to business, you become credible. And what I don't like is the idea that you are a second class creator if monetization is not your focus. I heard this on another podcast, totally different person, and they were just bashing anybody that didn't even want to think about having monetization and treating you as a listener that you just don't get it. That making money with your podcast is a necessity. And if you don't make money with your podcast, you're a failure. Now, I know podcasters who are real estate agents. And technically, they're making money from their podcast because people listen to their real estate podcast. They know and love the host, who's a real estate agent. And when they move to that city, they hire the real estate agent. And they sell and help them buy a house. So technically, they're making money through their show, but not directly. This show doesn't make any money. I have Buy Me a Coffee, which you guys have been super amazing about. And I've been able to take the money you give me through that and redistribute it to other podcasters. There's a few things here that I'm reading that I kind of agree with. You need to go from, I podcast here and there sometimes whenever I feel like it, to more of I run a media company and I treat it like a business. Okay, I get that part. I get being someone who shows up, not when you feel like it, but because it's a duty, it's a responsibility. You have an audience, you You have an agreement with your community that you're going to show up. I just don't like the tone of talking down to people who haven't left their full-time job to get that sweet podcast reimbursement that we all want. It seems counterproductive, and I just wanted to call it out, and I want to talk about it a little bit more, but yeah, I'm not impressed. So I am not anti making money with your podcast by any means. I know some amazing podcasters who are making small amounts of money, medium amounts of money. I don't know anybody who's making significant amounts of money with their show. I'd love to meet you. But I do know people who do make some sort of money with their show. It could be that they sell a course. It could be that they promote their book. It could be that they promote their coaching program. It could be a real estate agent who gets clients because of their show. There are many different ways to make money directly or indirectly from your show. And I'm not against that by any means. I'm not one of those purists, I guess you would say that creating a podcast is a creative endeavor and should never be charged for. I'm not to that extreme. But to say that you're not a successful, credible podcaster unless you make money and it's a business, I think that's a huge mistake. There's nothing wrong with having an independent hobby podcast that makes zero money, but it's something you love to do. You meet with your friends, your relatives, your wife, your partner, and you podcast together. And you do it for the sheer fun of it. And you host on a free platform because you don't have money to invest. You use the tools that you have, and you do what you can with what you have where you are. And you're happy with it. You put it out there in the world, and it makes you proud that you did something, you put yourself out there, and you've made nothing. You get paid with smiles. And that's fine with you. That's exactly what you want. And then here comes somebody in the room who says, you're not a credible podcaster. You're not important, basically. You're not a true podcaster because you're not making money with your show. And you're like, but I'm just having fun. And they're like, well, I don't want you to have fun. I want you to make money. Because if we all don't agree that we need to make money with podcasting, then all of us don't benefit from the money that comes into podcasting. It's a radio mindset. It's a marketing mindset. It's not a podcasting mindset. And my goal with this show is to not disparage anybody from making money, but also at the same time, to not look down on people who don't want to make money with their podcast, who don't see the need to make money with their podcast. You don't need it. And you'll podcast whether you make a penny or you don't make a penny. And I just don't like the idea that somebody would say that you're not a credible podcaster unless you make money. I don't think that helps the industry. I don't think it helps new podcasters coming into the space. Because if you walk into podcasting brand new and the first thing you hear is, if you don't make money with your show, you're not a credible podcaster, then now you have this dark cloud over you where you're like, well, how am I supposed to make money with this? And when I have people come into my world and that's the first thing out of their mouth, I want to quit my job and I want to make significant money with my podcast. What should I talk about? There's so many things wrong with that on so many levels that I don't know where to start with these people. They don't have an idea for the show. They have no name recognition. Nobody knows who they are. And they have this expectation because they're told, again, that you're not credible unless you're making money. They just walk in the door and go, okay, so where's the easy button to make money with a podcast? There is none. It takes hard work. It takes building of audience. It builds a community. It takes finding listeners and convincing them to come to your show. This takes years. And I know podcasters who talk about monetization, and they'll tell you 2-3 years of podcasting in silence before you see any kind of indicator that you can make money with your show. And when a new podcaster comes to me expecting they're going to make money in episode 2, it's just not a reality. you can make a small amount of money. You can have ads and make pennies for advertisements in your show, but you're not going to make money that you can allow you to quit your job. So I just want to give you that out, that when you hear somebody tell you that only credible podcasters make money, it seems like you were just ignoring all of the majority of podcasters who don't make any money. When you get a sponsor for your show, realize you are now attached to them, in that you represent that company on your show. That could come with limits to what you say on your show. That could come with content suggestions and unsuggestions, things they don't want you to talk about on your show. That could come with commercial distractions and disruptions to your content that your audience may tolerate, they may not. It comes with you reporting to them how many people have listened to the episode. You now have to podcast, not because you want to, but because you have to. You don't get to take a seasonal break. You don't get to take 3 weeks off because your kids are going off to a sporting event. No, you don't. Why? Because you have a job now. They're paying you for ad space in your show, and you've committed to X number of episodes over this period of time. You now have the thing you tried to get out of, a job. Your podcast is making money, maybe, through sponsorship, but you also are now attached to your sponsor. And in some cases, and this really gets me, I don't understand this at all. I hear people who want to bring advertisement into podcasting. They're podcasters, and they're like, oh, we need more podcast money coming in. We need more ads. We need more people putting money in podcasting. And when the people show up with the money, they say, we don't want to take a gamble on podcasts when we don't know the content. So we're going to kind of monitor what podcasters are saying in their podcasts. We don't want to have podcasts that talk about topics that could hurt our brand if we put our money behind your show. So if you speak a certain way, if you talk about certain things, we don't want to work with you. So they're monitoring our content now. They're monitoring our speech. They're monitoring our thoughts. And the same people who want money in podcasts, they want sponsors for their show, are now upset that the sponsors want control over what comes through the microphone. You can't have it both ways. If you want to be free and uninhibited as a podcaster to talk about whatever you want, a sponsor might not be the best path for you, because a sponsor comes with regulations, comes with a legal team. It comes with sign-offs. It comes with take this part out, put this in. Is that what you want? Because as a podcaster, I want to turn on the mic, talk about what I want to talk about, and push post and make it go live. I don't want to go get somebody's approval on this episode. So when going back to what this writer, this podcaster, this guru has posted, I just gently and lovingly, the best way I can, push back on this and say, it's not all about making money with your show. And I want to help you understand that your podcast can be a hobby. You can be an independent podcaster. You don't have to be part of the 8%. You can be happy in the 92%. Don't feel like you don't belong at a podcast conference when you don't make money with your show. Don't feel like you're inadequate. Don't feel like you are an imposter, because the imposters are the 8%. You're not the imposter. You're the majority. And people who say things like this are are hurtful to the industry of podcasting. They're dismissive of new people in the space, and they are becoming exactly the opposite of podcasting. Podcasting from day one has been gatekeeper free, meaning there's no guard, there's no security at the door, red carpet, stick behind the ropes. Only these people can come in. Podcasting is for everyone. Everyone. It's for the 8% who make good money, and it's for the 92% who don't. It's for everyone. And to take 92% of people and try to shove them into the 8% category is ridiculous. It is insane to think that this is what people are preaching out there about how we should be podcasting. It's not true. It's not helpful. And I think we really need to push back when you see things like this and go, do I believe this? Does this help my heart? Or is this not helping? Credibility doesn't come through money. Credibility comes by turning on the mic, creating an episode, and putting it out there for your audience. Credibility comes from a person who listens to your show, decides that, you know what, I've been talking about getting mental health for a long time, and after listening to this show, I realize I need to make a change. I'm going to go make an appointment. That's credibility. Credibility is, I have this book I want to sell, and I'd love to get in front of an audience. I go on a show, and now I sell books. That's credibility. Credibility is reaching your audience. Credibility is connecting with people who feel underserved. So if your only goal is to make money with podcasting, there's a way. It's not going to be a shortcut. It's going to take some time. But the whole idea, again, that the only credible people are the people who make money, I think is a disservice to podcasting. Love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your opinions. Because, again, this is just my opinions. These are just some of the things I'm thinking about. But if you have a different opinion of this, I'd love to hear it. And come on the show and let's talk about it. The more we can talk about this, the better, the more people we can help. So reach out to me anytime. I'd love to hear from you. So to the creator of this article or whatever it was, sorry, you're wrong. Podcast guru, your podcast does not need to be a business to be credible. Thanks for listening. Hey, thanks for being here to the end of the episode. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to all the players and all the apps. You're telling the apps, this is a podcast worth listening to. So you've just made this show better. So thank you. Now, I've had people reach out to me and they're like, Dave, I need to start a podcast and I'd love to start. But when I come to your show, there's a lot of episodes and I don't know where to start. How do I skip the line? How do I get to where I want to be without listening to over 500, 600 episodes? How do we make this happen? I love what you do, but I want to just get going. Well, I do offer consultations on podcasting and helping you and launching podcasts and coaching and mindset and everything. Technology, interviewing techniques, whatever you can think of, I can help you with. And I have some paid offerings then to help you with that. So if you want to skip the line, great. You and I can work together. Let's figure out what you can afford. Let's figure out what we can do together. Always happy to help. Understand, though, this podcast is always going to be free. So you can bypass paying anything for anything because this show's always free. The meetups that we do, which is podcast consulting in a community setting, always free, twice a week. Over 2 years we've been doing it. There's always a free option. I'm not going to charge you to be here as a listener. But if you want to skip the line and kind of condense 500 plus episodes, then let's work together, you and I together, on I have some paid offerings. Reach out to me. We can talk about it. howtopodcast.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the end. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you being part of this community. Always free, but always helpful. It's a How to Podcast series. Thanks for being here. Cheers. Great, you're still here. I just want to share with you one of my other shows, because a question came in around how do I find a podcast editor? I go on Facebook groups and get swarmed. I go on Fiverr and I'm talking to strangers. I have no idea if they're credible or not. I just want to work with somebody who gets podcasting and somebody that I can gel with. Well, that's what I do. I love helping podcasters and I do editing for other people. But I also host the Podcast Editing and Support Show. It's a podcast that is designed to help podcast editors to meet podcasters and for podcasters to meet podcast editors. We talk about job descriptions and money and expectations and relationships between the two. So podcasteditingandsupport.com is the website. And if you're interested in working with an editor, one thing I would suggest for you is to identify one task that you can outsource to someone else to help you. I know one podcaster, Corey, and she has outsourced elements of her podcast to her children, her teenage, young adult children. They help her with elements of her show, and it's all under one roof. Like, what a great idea. Artwork, show prep, show notes, episode titles, show ideas, calendar, emails, anything. Like, you could outsource that. You don't have to do it all alone. Grab your kids, teach them some life skills, and show them how a podcast is created with their help. Find somebody and identify for yourself things that are eating away at your time and see what you can offload. Something easy, something that's easy to manage from a distance. Use your family, hire someone like me, and get rid of some of the things that eat away at your time. Your time is worth more than editing. Your time is worth more than show notes. Your time is worth more than updating your website or uploading your podcast to the hosting site. You have other things to do. So instead of trying to do it all and doing it sort of okay, why not get rid of something today? That would be my encouragement for you. When you're looking for a podcaster to help you with your editing and support services, I would tell you to make sure you hire somebody who has a podcast. That's always a good starting point. Hiring somebody who has no idea what a podcast is generally a marketing person who's added podcasting to what they do. And they don't understand the business side of podcasting, so I would avoid that. Hire a podcast editor with a podcast so you can listen to what they do and you have a chance to go, do I like it or do I not like it? If you like what you hear here, I would love to work with you on your show. Reach out to me anytime through podcasteditingandsupport.com, howtopodcast.ca. All of these sites lead back to me, and I'd love to talk to you. So pick one thing, outsource it, and then take that time that you would normally spend on that task and invest it in your show, invest it in yourself. Do something with that time. Make sure that you do that. And then you're going to find you're going to want to get rid of some more and more and more. And that's where people like me come in. We'd love to work with you. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Keep podcasting. Keep doing what you do. You got this. Take care.